We spent $15,000 because of that last break-in. I mean, people are scared.
When Zarika Bosenchik first moved into the Olympic Village area 3 years ago, she thought she was buying into a rapidly improving area. But the building's strata president says that all ground to a halt when the Marguerite Ford Apartments down the street opened its doors.
There's way too many residents with way too many problems, not enough staff.
Open drug dealing, drug use, petty crime, drunk and intoxicated behavior at all hours of the day. That's what people who live and work here say has become commonplace. Since opening its doors last May, this building has had more than 700 police calls, not to mention the number of fire and ambulance calls. And it has caught the attention of the minister responsible for housing.
So we're spending a significant amount of time with our health authority and service providers to solve this problem, quite frankly, to reduce the police calls, to rebuild the relationship with the community, to make sure that in the future that we don't, obviously we learn from how this one has worked and we don't do it again.
This is the biggest social housing complex in Vancouver and also the first one that has a higher percentage of homeless people. That was pushed by the city in an effort to address its homelessness initiative. But all the groups involved now say that mix of tenants in those numbers needs to be more carefully managed.
We were ambitious. We wanted to move people in because they were homeless. I think we did learn some lessons around how quickly we move people in.
An overnight security guard now patrols the alley. Security cameras have been installed and more programs have been put in place for residents. Police calls last month did drop to about half of the peak, but homeowners living next door say the problems continue and the only solution to that is even more resources.
It's not enough to just put somebody in an apartment, give them a key and say, there, you're now housed. You cannot do that to people who have not had a home for a very long time or ever.
Well, Elaine joins us now with more on this story. Obviously, that resident is frustrated. We've spoken to others. What happens from here? It doesn't sound like the residents get any kind of immediate satisfaction.
No, they don't. This is going to be a work in progress, that's for sure, Chris. You know, those meetings between all the different groups involved, including representatives of the various strata councils in the surrounding condo buildings, those meetings continue. You know, they're still having one. I think she said next week is the next meeting. So, you know, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done here. And I want to make it clear, though, that the homeowners who live here, it's not that they're against social housing. There are other social housing complexes in the surrounding neighborhood that haven't been this kind of, so many problems in one site. And they say that some of those issues here are frankly, because of the high numbers of people, as well as we go back to the same thing, the lack of resources. And staffing levels are one thing that Strata Council we spoke with particularly was concerned about. Right now, the funding for Marguerite Ford provides for 5 staff during the day, 4 in the afternoons, and 3 overnight. And she says, you know what, that's just not enough people to manage the problems that come up with 147 people. You can bet, Chris, that this is going to be a municipal election issue.
Right, and the takeaway is that integrated social housing does work as long as it's managed correctly, and that's where the questions need to be asked. All right, thanks very much, Elaine.